buddy. Oh, yeah. That's kind of cute. Cute purse.
It looks like a basketball.
Soccer ball. Well, yeah, basketball.
Welcome, everybody, to our City Council meeting for Monday, February the 11th, 2019. If we could have a roll call to establish quorum, please, ma'am.
Terry McClung.
I'm here.
Melissa Greene.
I'm here.
Harry Meyer. Present. Susan Harman.
Here.
Bob Thomas.
Here.
Vicki Schneider.
Yo.
We have 6.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get a motion for approval of the agenda. So moved.
Second.
We have a couple of items. Our city attorney is sick tonight and will not be here. So we have a couple of items on there that he was supposed to be reporting on. And under new business, we have the ordinance addressing the animals in hot cars. Also the ordinance revoking ordinance number 2173. And his talk on the ex parte, which is item number 6 under new business.
And probably number 5, Butch.
Also number 5, because that'll involve some legal stuff.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was one of his issues or not. So we'll have items 1, 2, 5, and 6 deferred, if that's agreeable with the council. All right. Any other changes? If not, get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion. We accept as changed.
Second.
I got a motion and approve. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Get a motion to approve the minutes for January 28th.
Motion to approve the minutes of January 28th, 2019. Second.
Any additions, corrections from anyone? Hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is allows me to address the city and bring you up to date on what happened in 2018 and possibly where we're going as far as the state of the city goes. The overview in 2018 is Eureka Springs. When we entered the year 2018, we saw a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel as we emerged from a period of significant financial constraints. The City Council and departments and all the areas of city services responded to our plans to continue the focused review of all city finances on a monthly basis to contain costs. 2, to bring the city into compliance with our existing bond covenants and state law. 3, reduce and pay off our long-term debt that's been encumbered by the city. And 4, replenish the cash reserves of the city. 1 year later, the financial well-being of the city is much healthier, as evidenced by the fact that we paid off the police building loan in March of 2018, 2 years early. And in May of 2018, the City Council passed into law Ordinance 2265, which provided for the early retirement of both the 2008 and 2010 water sewer bonds prior to their scheduled maturity date. The end of December 2018 financials found the overall expenses of the city running 3.78% under the budgeted projections, and the revenues running 1.12% under the projected budget. So rather than continuing the practice of withdrawing money from the reserves, as we've done for many years, we actually deposited $572,779 into the reserves. All of this is to say something pretty fundamental. We've been operating with our belts cinched pretty tight, and now we're seeing the fruits of our labor. In order to get to this point of addressing actual pressing concerns of our crumbling infrastructure, some very big and some very real financial constraints had to be addressed. My sincere thanks to all who made the shift in thinking and action to bring about these positive results for the citizens of Eureka Springs. A town that works together in a positive manner can solve problems easier and quicker than the ones who don't. You know, we've been fortunate to have public servants in the departments and commission and task force within the city who's truly dedicated to serving in a very possible manner. And I'd like to highlight some of their work in 2018 to give you a glimpse of the work that they've accomplished in the past year. In the police department, we've achieved some goals in providing the high level of the community service and protection while maintaining maximum budget efficiency. We've established a full-time school resource officer added and assigned to the Eureka Springs Public Schools. We conducted joint department and active shooter training and preparation with the Eureka Springs Fire Department and EMS and Eureka Springs schools. We had over 1,730 calls for service. We had 810 offense and incident reports, 25 reports of domestic disturbances resulting in 13 arrests or warrants. 729 uniform citations were issued, while it had 807 warning citations issued. 293 arrests were made and 119 warrants were served, and we had 26 noise violations issued. With the fire department and EMS, we responded to over 129 fire and rescue incidents and 1,429 EMS incidents in 2018. The Eureka Springs Fire Department members attended over 6,100 man-hours of in-house fire, EMS, rescue, and hazmat training to ensure a constant state of readiness to respond in any emergency in our community. We hosted monthly emergency medical responding training for the Western Carroll County EMR Alliance members. We hosted the National Register of Emergency Medical Technicians training, with 5 students becoming state licensed and nationally registered. The 2018 EMS and First Responders Conference was held in March and hosted by over 250 attendees from statewide. We had the second largest EMS education conference in the state. The fire department responded to 129 fire and rescue incidences and, as I said, 1,429 EMS incidents in 2018. We've had a new billing contract and new collections contracts that worked to increase revenue. We had $404,000 in fees collected for EMS services. And we had, under the Western District contract, of $248,647 for a total of $652,906, up 6.4% from 2017. In Public Works during 2018, we completed a number of projects through a combination of city funds as well as state and federal grants. We had the lead and copper water bacteriological samples were below limits in 2018, and the city had its National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit extended till 2024 by the wastewater plant, achieving its lowest nutrient removal percentage in history. Public Works would like to thank everyone who participated in our 2018 lead and copper sampling that resulted in the percentages below national water standards. We will be expanding our lead testing during 2019 and would appreciate any customer involvement in the next year on this survey. The Public Works chose Match Point of Wilmington, North Carolina to perform a water audit of its distribution system during 2018. The audit revealed several significant leaks not previously been detected. In the 3 months since the leaks were identified and repaired, the city has purchased 15,729,000 gallons less than the same period last year. This reduction of water loss and waste, in part, helped us deliver a balanced Fund 80 budget for the first time in years. The project to upgrade the operating and alarm system at the wastewater facility is underway and will be completed soon. The main sewer lines on Brush and Alexander were replaced, and Huckleberry Lift Station was rehabbed during 2018. Of a note, and we're real proud that Eureka Springs City utility employee has been recognized professionally Mr. Long was named Wastewater Operator of the Year, and Mr. Yandell was named Water Operator of the Year by Arkansas Water Works and Water Environmental Association. This is a first-time achievement for the City of Eureka Springs and a well-deserved accolades for both of these professionals. We had the Flint Street Drainage Repair Project was completed at the intersection and parking spaces repaved during 2018. This project was funded by a $220,000 grant from Northwest Arkansas Economic Development District. By reconstructing a portion of this underground drainage tunnel and reconnecting the Water Street Inlet, this area will be secure for decades to come. During 2018, repairs to the damage from floods of 2017 were completed using FEMA funds. Hillside and Grand received a pavement overlay and drainage improvement during 2018, which was funded by a $250,000 street improvement award. And Public Works is working long-term to overlay our major street arteries with a minimum 2-inch asphalt and our lower volume streets with a 1/4-inch overlay, allowing us to stay within budget and not allowing any chip and seal in the city. And the Transit Department, we're proud that we were able to install solar panels with a grant from the federal government at Plainer Hill and the Transit Center and the Transit Barn facility. As soon as we installed those facilities, our utility bills started running backwards, at least for the time being. We also installed the automatic bus stop announcement system on all of our trolleys. We had given over 119,900 rides on the overall system, up 6.2%. Of note, there were over 4,000 of these riders in one 6-hour period during the zombie crawl. This was a record evening in all kinds of ways. We had full revenue of $226,151, up 5.5%. Tram tour riders was up 9.9%, while tram revenues was up 6.6%. Share rides were up 0.5%, and share ride revenues was up 16.6%. 4,982 rides on share ride with a revenue of $22,078, with a total federal funding received of $555,952. I'm proud to say that Eureka Springs Transit System remains the only transit system in the state that is solely self-supporting and does not receive any city funding. Dealing with the City Advertising and Promotion Commissions, one of the great branding projects for Eureka was contracted with Edward Robinson, who produced 7 new incredible television commercials seen in the Dallas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, Northwest Arkansas, Kansas City, Springfield, and Joplin, which was grabbing the attention of production departments and sales personnel in every city, including a great kudo from Jim Daly of Arkansas Parks and Tourism. Today, Arkansas.com places Eureka Springs on the front home page of Arkansas.com, and our exposure will be included in the 4.7 million visitors alone that go to that home page. EureKaSprings.org, the official tourism site for Eureka Springs, saw over 330,000 visitors, creating 436,000 sessions. Our Google AdWords produced 45,000 actual clicks, which was a 21% increase over 2017. Tracking public relation values in 2019 produced a report of over 150 media outlets across the United States with an astonishing value of $566,190,024. That's $566 million. It's pretty remarkable. In 2018, Eureka Springs grew 3.4% in collections compared to 2017, collecting $1.4 million. We had a new Christmas tree in Basin Park with new decorations and lighting that was given to the city and budgeted by the CAPC. And in 2019, we've already purchased more new lighting for Christmas and the trimmings to add to the excitement of Christmas season. And finally, it's sad to say Mike Maloney is retiring after 8 years with the commissions. Over the past 8 years, CAPC collections grew from $1.1 million in 2011 to approximately $1.5 million in 2018. In 2011, gross sales were $124,394,511 versus in 2018, gross sales were $176,668,018, an 8-year gain of $52,273, or a 42% increase. Mike, you'll be greatly missed by the City of Eureka. Thank you for a job well done. With the Parks and Recreation Commission, we had the downhill trails projects been completed. It's to be noted that this is the only downhill course between the Rockies and the Appalachian Mountains, and we're expecting to see a lot of people come in for this project. Shuttle operations are performing well with the staff additions at the Park and Rec, including 1 office person and 2 trail crew members. Lake Leatherwood improvements include new trash receptacle containers, picnic tables, tent pads, and interior cabin improvements. We've had many community partnerships, including the Art Council and Harman Park Mural, Preservation Society, and the Doughboy Restoration, local art installation at Leatherwood Community Center and Greenhouse, with the CAPC and Trails promotion, as well as the Christmas decor and the Walton Family Foundation and the mitigation project. We had a task force on economic development. It's produced several new tools, including the constant updates and new resources on the EUREKASpringsInc.org website. We've had a new and expanded 2019 business resource guide, a new food and nightlife guide, and an outdoor advertising guide, along with an arts, culture, and event guide, all of which can be downloaded from the website. On the education and workforce development front, North Ark College in Berryville became a full-fledged 2-year college offering 2-year degrees through Carroll County campus. The task force is on the North Arkansas College Advisory Committee, assisting with technical training and curriculum development for our high school students and for adult education. We've been cooperating with Berryville, Green Forest, and Eureka to operate this facility. Going into 2019, the task force is working with Arkansas Development Finance to create affordable housing opportunities for its citizens through a new subcommittee of bankers, realtors, and representatives from the Northwest Arkansas Economic Development District. Through our collaboration with C3, we're co-hosting our first annual Home and Garden Show in Berryville in March, and one of the goals is to attract new developers to help benefit Carroll County and Eureka Springs. Finally, the task force is aggressively recruiting new businesses and developing more digital and film production activity in and around Eureka Springs. Last year, we had 7 projects filmed in the area, including parts of True Detective Season 3. More activities planned for this year from HBO, and a feature-length film is tentatively scheduled to start filming in late summer and fall. Code enforcement and building inspections department. We had permits were up 5% from 2017, with 265 permits issued. Permit fees increased by 44% for the same period, with $30,052 in fee revenue. New construction is on the rise and projected to continue through 2019. Certificate of occupancy is slightly down in 2018, with 102 issued compared to 104 in 2017. Reassessment of sidewalks, commercial and residential, has commenced. Letters of repair are currently being issued. In the Historic District Commission, we reviewed over 250 applications for Certificate of Appropriateness. The HDC commissioners and staff attended 2 in-state training workshops and 1 national conference in Des Moines. Trainings were funded by a certified local government grant from the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program and the National Park Service. This grant also funded the renovation of the base of the Doughboy, the War Memorial in Basin Park, with matching funds from the Eureka Springs Preservation Society. Additionally, a COG grant was paid for the successful submission for the placement of the Eureka Springs Cemetery on the National Register of Historic Places and for 2 conservation workshops at the cemetery. The Historic District Commission is also in the process of digitizing all the district property files and exploring ways to make them accessible online. The Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Adjustment reviewed applications for 4 new conditional use permits and 1 continuing CEP. They reviewed 4 applications for new commercial construction, and the Board of Zoning Administration reviewed 3 variance applications and 6 tree removal applications. The Commission hosted 2 local low-impact development workshops and are presently in the process of developing standards for low-impact development. 2 commissioners attended a Regional Arkansas Planning Association training, and the Commission spent considerable time working on revisions to the municipal code and its application. The Commission is hosting a workshop tomorrow with Municipal League Planner on best practices. That will be starting at 4 o'clock here in the auditorium. There are several other projects in note that I want to touch on due to their significance to the city. We're working on a $200,000 community development block grant to fund the replacement of the water main leading to the wastewater plant. The replacement of this water main will help us stop significant water loss in this particular location, thereby reducing additional cost. This is a major project that we've been looking forward to for several years. We continue to pound away for funding for repairs of Black Bass Dam. The folks at both state and federal legislative office, as well as grant funding sources, are well aware of our real concerns for this facility. I met with aides from Congressman Womack's office this past Friday and will continue to pursue all avenues of potential funding for Black Bass Dam. The Transportation Alternative Program grant of $200,000 is underway to build a section of sidewalk from Plainer Hill West along Van Buren to the community center. This will provide safe walking space for citizens and visitors alike. And while I'm on the subject of citizens and visitors, I want to acknowledge how positive the advent of the passport parking has been in Eureka Springs. Last week, we had a resident from Holiday Island call and let us know that because of the ease of the passport parking, they actually come downtown Eureka to shop, eat, and play, which they have never done before. This is a new development for these longtime neighbors. And last, and by no means least, we're working on an Arkansas Historic Preservation Program grant to fund the renovation of the basement of the auditorium. The $60,000 grant, along with matching funds from the city and CAPC, will make the basement fully accessible for the first time in its history, providing both an elevator and fully accessible bathrooms. There are any number of remaining projects, activities, efforts, and areas of focus within the cities. These mentioned previously highlight just some of the work that's being done for the greater good for the citizens in the city of Eureka Springs. I'm excited for the future of Eureka Springs and working to create a positive place, not only for the visitors, but more importantly, the citizens of Eureka Springs. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak today and to serve as mayor of Eureka Springs. It's my honor to do so. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That brings us to commissions and planning applications you have in your packet. Applications from James Mitchell for the planning that will be considered at our next council meeting. Under parks, we have an application from Dave Hartmann. I believe y'all had that last week and we're ready for... No?
No.
We didn't go?
No, we didn't.
Okay, that's... Okay. Yeah. So that same is true with Marty Cogan on HPC?
Yeah.
All right. Both of those will be talked about then at our next meeting.
Okay.
On there. So that brings us to public comments.
Ferguson Stewart, 7 Harvey Road. I wanted to say thank you for allowing me to serve the last 5 years on the Park Commission. It's been a pleasure, and I think I've left it in good condition for the public. It was a great project for 5 years. Now I'm moving on to planning, and again, thank you for endorsing me on the Planning Commission. Also, another hat I wear as a veteran and as a chaplain of the American Legion and service officer, we will be celebrating at post number 9, American Legion, our 100th birthday this year. So, more information to follow will be coming out shortly. And me and Vicki are on a project to publicize that, so we'll be doing that soon. So thank you very much. God bless.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, staff, and the public. My name's Don Patterson. I recently purchased the old fun spot out on 62, and my family and I have been working very hard trying to get that back into shape so that we can come down and schedule an inspection with Mr. Robbie and the fire chief and get that business open and hopefully serve the city honorably and very well. And I wanted to thank the mayor and the staff for the friendly correspondence that I received right after we got here, and telling us that we would look forward to support from the city, which we dearly appreciate that. I'll just give you about a minute of my history. I worked the last 30 years for a French company, Veolia Environmental. I was the Vice President of Operations in the Caribbean and the Mid-Atlantic. Then my wife and I adopted a 2-year-old boy. A little late in life, but that's a good thing. So he's 6 now. He's going to school in Florida, in Jacksonville. As soon as school's out, they'll be joining us here. So we'll all get together and get to meet each other. Prior to opening, I plan on having a barbecue at the business. Invite the police and the EMS, City Council, staff, Public Works, whoever, and come down and we can eat some good barbecue, because I also had a company down by New Orleans called Swampwater Barbecue. So you're going to be treated very well, I hope. I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
No, just
When's the barbecue?
yeah, and welcome to
In
town.
about an hour.
Okay,
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, hi, Dave Hartmann. I actually just came to introduce myself to the council. I am the application that you have for the Parks Department. So my wife, Wendy, and I moved to town about a year ago, so we're pretty new to town. But we're planning to open a business here. We're looking to open a brewery here in Eureka. It's going to be called Got a Hold Brewing, but that's actually not what I'm here to talk about. Just wanted to, you have an application. I wanted you to be able to put a face to the application. I plan to contact you all in the next 2 weeks, so you have an opportunity to talk to me, ask me some questions. We moved down here from Vermont, so we're big outdoors people. I'm a big mountain biker, hiker. We just got back from a vacation. We were hiking out west. So parks is something that we're very interested in. Fergie, I'm hoping to take over for him. I had talked to Butch just a couple weeks ago, actually, and said, hey, we're here, we've got energy, we don't have kids, we've got time, how can we help out with the city? And and somebody coincidentally tipped us off that Fergie was leaving and moving up to park to planning, so I thought I would put in an application. So, like I said, I'll contact you all in the next couple weeks. You'll have an opportunity to ask me some questions, but really just wanted to introduce myself so you could have a face for the application. So thank you very much.
All right, that closes our public comments. Our first order of business, we have, I guess, the item, get information on the historic district about sidewalk surfaces. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Is second?
Second.
All right. Basically, when I've talked to Glenna about this and the Historic District Commission, they're holding a workshop on February 21st to discuss this item. So at our next council, when is our next council meeting? Is it before that?
25th.
25th. We should have some more information on the 25th. So, at this point, that's all I know. Bring you all up to date on that.
Is that planning or HDC?
HDC. On the 21st.
Do you know what time it is at the workshop?
Meeting's at 6 and whatever afterwards on that.
An hour's fairly typical.
Okay. All right, that brings us to, is item 4?
Yes.
Get a motion to discuss?
I make a motion that we discuss the code enforcement policy.
Second?
Get a second?
Yes.
A second.
All right. Ms. Snyder?
Just a minute. Sorry. Just a short, brief discussion that it's really important that all of our commissions and committees and city working groups, whatever, they all have exact guidelines and things to follow, rules, guidelines, steps, whatever you want to call them. And it's really integral to the city that every step is followed by everybody as written, so we don't have problems in the future on down the road. The whole city has gotten, and this is actually a good thing, but it has side effects. The whole city has gotten really complacent. And we know our neighbors, we know our friends, we trust them, and therefore we let things, little things, or in our opinion, little things slide. And there can be repercussions that are not good. So we all need to keep in mind that it doesn't matter if it's your mother who comes before a committee, if they haven't followed to the nth degree every guideline, you have to make them do that. This is for the safety and sake of the city and therefore the residents of the city.
Ms. Greene?
In the code enforcement of our commissions, who is that? Who is our code enforcer?
Bobby Ray?
Okay. And is that a part-time or full-time job?
Full-time?
It's a full-time. So the building inspecting and code enforcement is a full-time. Okay. One of the things is, I believe the HDC still has a complaint file, and they file complaints. Steve, could I have you come up for a moment? I just have a question for you, please. Is that fine? What is the procedure for that?
Steve Holyfield, Chair of HDC.
Okay.
The procedure, someone can come in to Glenna and there's a form to fill out saying you've seen something that you think is violating code and you want to investigate it.
Okay. So, and then it goes to Glenna, and then Glenna takes it to the building inspector.
Right.
Okay.
Which is Bobby Ray.
Okay.
And then she runs it by the commission as well. We discuss
Okay. So is that brought up at the meetings? Are you getting some feedback from it, or?
We ask for updates as much as possible, and so Glenna will bring the file and we'll go through each of the applications, and she informs us the status of what's going on with each complaint.
Okay.
And that's usually getting feedback from Bobby Ray.
Okay. So the complaints are being addressed?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And Ann, do you have a moment? Do you have the same procedure?
We do not. I think it was last year, the year before, we did come up with a form.
Okay.
It was about complaints that would make it easier. There was a lot of discussion. People were afraid that they would be given up on who gave the complaint, and then there would be retaliation. I think our form is really simple. It listed the complaint. You go out there, you take a picture. Either it's there or it's not there. If it's there, you address it with progressive discipline or whatever you do. But nothing comes to planning on that at all. We don't see any complaints whatsoever. I'm not even sure what happened with the form.
Okay, so has planning made any complaints to Glenna that are going to Bobby Ray, or you don't know?
No, I think if there's any complaints, I would take those to Bobby Ray myself.
Okay, and have you taken any?
I have not had any yet to take, no.
Okay. Which, one question, and I guess I've had a lot of discussions
Excuse
from...
me, can I say
Oh, sure, absolutely, Ann. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've had a lot of discussion, especially when I was out campaigning, about code enforcement, and one thing I would like, could we get a report on just any of citations that have been written in the last year for codes, just to see where we're at or how they're being addressed? I'm not trying to point fingers, and I don't want to go backwards. I think there's some procedures. I think there's some lack of communications, and I hear a word that is distressing to me, and it's called discretion. And to me, codes don't have discretion. They're met with, if you're breaking a code, I believe that there should be a warning system, and if it continues, then there needs to be a citation. That's just my opinion, and so I would ask if you could get maybe a report of just if we've had any citations on codes. How about complaints? Well, complaints, and what's happened with them.
Yeah, I can ask Bobby Ray to do that.
Okay, I would appreciate it.
Susan?
I'm not going to point out any specifics, but I do think that in my opinion, on a yearly basis, I think that the staff members and the commissions that are dealing with things such as code, HDC, obviously planning and things like that, I think it would be beneficial for the city to have them sit down and do a workshop each year so they get to know those people. There are people that are coming and going on those commissions. New people are moving into town, and I think it would be beneficial for the commissions as a whole and those staff members to be able to sit down in a room in a workshop setting where they could discuss some of the things that they are having issues with, be it questions that they could ask staff, because staff is supposed to be the expert, right? Our planning commission, I know when I was on planning, we receive a huge code book, but it is always beneficial to be able to ask that staff member some questions about maybe just clarifying some things and knowing the procedures that are in place by the city would be beneficial to those individuals, just so they can talk through that process and see what's working and what's not working. So if I were sitting in your shoes, I would say a workshop each year would be beneficial because, like I said, there are questions that do come up, and just being able to understand and or tweak things as needed and or educate those individuals that are sitting on those commissions. I just think it would be a beneficial thing to do on a yearly basis. Not only does it help those new members, but it also allows the staff to collect information and understand where there can be possible issues or where things are going right on a yearly basis. So that's all I have to add on that.
They pretty much have that opportunity to create their workshops at any time. I mean, they get together and have their meetings, so I'm not sure who you're seeing.
No, I just
are you
know,
talking about having the building inspector?
Yes, I think it should be a staff and commission workshop where it is a required thing at least once a year where they can sit down and we said we're going to set this time aside and we're going to do this workshop and we're going to allow individuals to come and ask questions and maybe at least give feedback, because really at this point You might get a chair that will go and talk to those individuals. You might get an individual who sends an email from one of those commissions. But to be able to sit down with them, I think, would be beneficial.
Well, both the chair people are here, and I think they're hearing what you're saying. That's pretty much a policy that they need to establish on themselves. As a city council, I think they've got their own procedures and policies within their organization. And I think they're hearing what you're saying. I mean, they're both here, so, I think that's, they can do that. For us to direct them, then we're going to have to we're going to interfering with changing their own policies, and it's up to them to change their policies.
I don't know if necessarily it's an interference. It's just a courtesy workshop per year to make sure that everybody...
It's up to them to do that. That's their policy, I think. So, Mickey?
I make a motion that City Council pass a resolution mandating an annual workshop which includes all of our committees, commissions, council, and staff in regards to what we're doing, how their guidelines and rules are, so all of us are in line and in step with each other, and the public is welcome to come.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. There you go. Mr. Thomas?
Blew me away. I wasn't expecting a resolution. I mean, I was going to suggest to Ms. Harman that she... Well, first of all, I was a little confused. Were you talking about one big meeting? That's the impression that I got. Is that what you were talking about? Okay, so it was one big meeting of all commissions, and I was going to suggest that you make the motion to hold that meeting. I don't want to have a resolution that says we're going to do it every year. I think that's a little overkill. I think we can do it. City Council can set up that workshop anytime that we want to. We could have 2 a year if we want to. We could have,
Okay, a minimum of 1 a year, but a resolution means we have to.
I don't think a resolution's needed. That's my input.
Mr. Thomas has the floor. I'm sorry. Would you?
I think that City Council could just have a motion to hold such a workshop. I don't think a resolution's necessary.
All right. Mr. McClung?
I think a workshop, I'm not sure I got a good definition of what they're actually wanting to do at this workshop, because if you're going to cover all the departments and commissions because you've got staff from all the departments, you're talking about, streets, water, sewer, I guess, and how they're affected in all this, and staff, and I'm not really sure what all you mean as far as having this big meeting.
Would you like me to clarify it a little bit better?
And I think what Ms. Harman said, if you're going to do anything, that each commission have its own individual meeting with the staff would be a more concise way of doing that, because I think the other, you're going to be too big and sprawled out and confusing, and I think you're more specific for each commission to have such a meeting on its own. And I think you're right. I think, Mr. Mayor, that's something that they probably ought to set up, but I think it needs the endorsement, maybe not a forcible situation from the City Council, but an endorsement to have these meetings, just because it would be good policy to do that, if that makes sense.
Ms. Harman?
Yeah, really, just to clarify, Terry, it was, I really was just focused on HDC and planning, because I think those are the two biggies, and I think they are bigger issues when it comes to code enforcement and things like that are set before them as commissions. So my focus was really on HDC and planning, and I do agree with you that having every department come into a big meeting, I think is just going to be overkill. But I do agree with what Terry said, that I think, as City Council or as the mayor being over that staff to make that recommendation, that meeting be held on a yearly basis.
Okay, that's all I meant, was planning and HDC. Would you like me to clarify my motion to that effect? Because that's all I meant by commission and committee was planning and HDC with council.
All right, I guess we do need clarification of your motion.
Okay, rewording my motion. I make a motion that council makes a resolution that once a year, planning, HDC, and council will hold a public workshop with their staff members. Is that good enough?
And code enforcer.
And code enforcement. Why?
Oh, we want him there.
Are you going to second?
Oh, I'll second it.
All right. So the clarification of the motion is to have a workshop by the HDC and Planning Commission once a year to clarify procedures and
Yes.
clarify procedures
Yes.
and code enforcement.
Yes.
Okay. And further, Mr. McClung.
Would it not be much simpler just to, for the council to have a voice vote to give the mayor a directive to see that's passed on to both of those commissions and that they set that up with his assistance, with the staff, so they can coordinate it? I mean, I don't know that it needs a resolution.
Yes, ma'am.
I've lived in this town too long, that's why I made it resolution. Because if it's something that we're going to try to remember to do every year, it ain't going to happen. So that's why I said resolution, because then it has to. We can pick a date and say, on this time period of every year, we will hold this. Yeah, I mean, that's what we can do.
That needs to be an ordinance.
We don't want to make it a law so much as we want to make it a regular event. That's why I chose the word.
A resolution is a temporary. It's a one-time event.
Okay. I don't like making it a law, but I don't like the idea of leaving it a free-for-all because we'll never do it. And Mayor,
Well,
Mayor,
let's try it and see.
Okay. I'll bet you $5 right now.
You got, Mr. Meyer?
Well, we're talking about HDC and planning and the building inspector, right? That's basically...
Correct.
Well,
And
then,
council.
council too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm a little confused with the council, but it's,
Who is
you know,
that
it's...
makes their laws?
We do.
Is this...
We should be there. That doesn't mean we have to participate.
All right. Yes, please.
Come up, Ann.
Yeah.
As
And
chairman of the planning
We
commission.
should be there. Whether we actually participate, so to speak, or not is up to us, or, you know.
I didn't actually come to planning. There is no doubt that the planning commission, we are struggling with some inconsistencies in code and some of the way that codes are handled. And I would prefer to get with my commission and send a letter to the city council to address these issues and maybe outline them before, kind of give you an idea where we're going and how we want to solve this. Because I really wasn't prepared to talk tonight, but I do know we struggle with some things, and if we could outline that and Mayor send that to you, that might help get started of where we need to go with this. And I'm guessing maybe the HDC has some issues too that they struggle with. I don't know. It's just a suggestion.
Ms. Harman?
I mean, I think that's always good to have participation, especially when you're dealing with things that affect you on maybe a regular basis or just things that come up. So I think if we were to establish a meeting, whether it be permanent or it's temporary for a year, neither one really matters to me as long as it happens, but I think it would be good to have that information supplied to us, or at least be available to us so that we could read those things and understand what's going on. Because really, if a date is set and we've been invited, we sit on City Council, so we should try our very best to attend those meetings so we understand really what the issues are. And so if they were able to do their homework ahead of time and send something prior to, I think that would be fantastic. Whether or not this is a meeting that's set up in March or April or May, I still believe it has to happen at some point each and every year. So I think that's a good idea, because then at least you can think about it and know what your issues are instead of just coming to a room and saying, okay, what do y'all want to talk about?
I mean, they need to be legitimate.
So.
For sure.
We have, two separate, we're talking about two separate meetings. We're not talking about combined.
It doesn't matter to me if it's combined or two separate.
You're talking about combined.
Just as long as the commission...
All right, Ms. Greene? Ms. Greene?
Years ago, we kind of all used to watch live council meetings and stuff. The commissions used to come probably 3 times, maybe 4 times a year and give a report on what was going on. And I always thought, because I was part of those commissions for 14 years, I thought it was incredibly beneficial. We were able, if we were having problems, to speak, or if there was a certain issue, certain codes that weren't being followed, or certain codes that need to be changed, or they were being changed. And I think we've kind of lost that. And I'm wondering if that wouldn't help, if maybe 3 times a year the chair would come and give a report, maybe give us, or have a report put in our files of complaints filed. I think that there are some issues in this town. I hear about it enough. We just had a huge lawsuit, and we also just went to court, which we won on an HDC issue. So there are issues. And I know when we do our procedures right and when we follow our codes, we're not going to, if we end up in court, we're going to win. And so it is important to follow codes, and it's important to me to have codes. If they have to be, they have to be cited. It's not something I want, but if someone's breaking the law, they have to come, and I think it's important because people are complaining about it.
Okay, so what I'm hearing the council say is, and the motion was for the HDC and the planning to hold a joint workshop with the commission, with the council invited, of course, to discuss procedures and code enforcement. Is that correct?
Mr. Thomas had his hand up first, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Thomas?
I like your idea of drafting a document first with your concerns. My concern about a workshop is you're talking about 18 people, 20 people, and if you don't organize it, you just come in and everybody's supposed to sit around and talk and ramble and carry on. Workshops don't just happen. So if you're going to set up a workshop, it's got to be organized, and there's got to be some logistical planning done. But each one of those commissions, they could ask you to have Bobby Ray come to their meeting, correct? And they could, individually, they could notify council what night Bobby Ray is coming to their meeting, and and that way you could decide what you needed to address with Bobby Ray, and he would be there, and we could listen, and if you guys can't come to some kind of agreement on your needs and his job, and then we might have to come back to council and try to work it out here.
Mr. McClellan?
Yeah, and as far as having reports from the commissions, that's what we do already. It's set up to do that right after the approval of the minutes.
Right. But we never get any.
But so we just got to ask them to come. That's already time allowed to do that during the meeting. So
And, and it's my fault. We've had the commission come before, and I just haven't notified the planning or the HDC to come before us. Normally, they do come on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
My concern is that the planning commission and HDC are two separate and have two separate jobs, and having one workshop combined for both of them, it's going to be like Mr. Thomas said, you're going to get into a lot of different chaos. And I think the best thing, and having sat on the planning commission myself and worked with HDC, is for them to have their own workshops to come up with what their policies and procedures are on code enforcement. If there's issues in the planning commission, and we just saw planning commissions come to the Cty Council with 4 recommendations on code changes. So they're working toward those. Whenever they see a problem, they come before us. So, no, we didn't, I think we passed 1 of those ordinances, maybe, 2.
3.
Did we pass 3?
1 failed.
Okay. But, so, that process is working on through there. The HDC, if they have an issue, again, and I think the workshop's a great idea, but I think they need to be held separately. Otherwise, we're going to get into confusion and not get much done.
All right, you want me to reword again?
Beg your pardon?
Would you like me to reword again?
No, we already got a motion and a second on there. I mean, it's just, but, we can call for the question and vote on the motion.
Or I can just plain withdraw my...
And you can withdraw your motion, exactly.
Okay, I will withdraw my motion,
I'll withdraw my second.
and I will... Do I need to make a motion for us to set a date to start this? Or do we just...
You can just allow me, if you would like, to go ahead and set a workshop with...
I have no problem with 2 separate meetings. I do know they all have, both planning and HDC have their own guidelines, but they also have a lot of issues that correspond, and so they do get involved together sometimes. I just figured that would be easier doing one. If we do 2 different meetings, that's fine, as long as council is at both, and the building inspector, code enforcer.
Why don't you let me set up the meeting for workshops?
That's what I'm saying. These are my...
That can be an administrative thing that I can take care of.
But
We can notify.
This is what I'm looking for.
Mr.
We
Thomas?
need to be part of it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas?
So you're talking about the workshop for planning and the workshop for HDC. It would seem to me that they are the ones, it may take them 2 months planning to get 2 months to get ready for this workshop, and it might take HDC 2 weeks. I don't know how you could set the date. It would be...
Oh, I won't. I'll refer to them to set the dates for me.
Okay, and then if in their discussions they see a need to meet together, then that would be one of their recommendations.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
The only thing,
Harman?
and again, this is just my personal opinion, issues that have come up over the year, say we're in 2019 now, we just went through 2018, I think it would be beneficial to look at issues that we've had, either, I know we just had a legal issue that we went through, to review those things with those particular commissions and say, maybe this is what we did wrong, this is what we did right, how can we make sure it doesn't happen again? And so I think to have that review during that's one of the important things I think of having that discussion, is that it's actually an overview, perhaps an audit of how we did for the year before and how can we address going forward. They have issues, we may have issues on staff side and on commission. How can we bring that together and come up with a solution and to make sure that some of those things maybe don't happen in the future.
Mr. McClung?
I think that's an administrative I'm not going to say requirement, but I think that should be a position that the administration takes, being, coming under the mayor, that he needs to follow up with that on those kind of things with staff and all, to make sure that procedures are followed, that we don't get into those kind of situations again. And I'm I'm firm with that. I think comes under the administration to do that.
Now, just for a point of information for the council, I have sat down with the chairman and the building inspectors, chairman of both planning and, the historic district. I haven't sat down and talked with the planning specifically on this issue, but we've sat down and talked on several other issues, and the building inspector about procedures and how to handle things, and to try to keep us from going into repeating problems that we've come up with. So we've had that discussion on there. So, that's an administrative thing that, that we went ahead and talked to. And I'll be, tomorrow night, again, we'll have a planning commission workshop, and a lot of these questions will come, well, maybe not a lot of these questions, but questions will come up on procedures. So I'm sure Mr. Von Tunglen can help us out on that, too. Okay. So any further?
Can you let us know maybe at the next meeting when these things might be set up? Or in a month?
I can, yeah. We should be able to know something by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us an idea. Thank you.
Okay. Does that bring us to number 7?
Sure does.
Yeah.
All right. Get a motion for the 2018 fourth quarter financial reports.
I make a motion to discuss the fourth quarter financial reports.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Printed out and available for your review are the receipts, the check register, payroll for the year, the bank balances, and the long-term liabilities. So if anybody wants to do some drilling, it will be available for you.
Thank you, Ann.
Any questions? All right. Well, this is getting to have been shorter than what I thought. If I hadn't spoke so long, it'd been even quicker. Agenda setting.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Anybody? No? All right. City Council comments. I'll start with Mr. McClung this time.
Nothing really, just this. Looking forward to Well Lovett and John Hyatt concert this Friday evening. Should be a lot of fun.
Ms. Meyer?
No comments this time.
Ms. Harman?
Nope.
Ms. Snyder?
Happy VD.
Happy what?
I do it every year. Happy VD.
Okay.
Okay. What Fergie was talking about, our American Legion anniversary, our 100th, and we're only like 9th in the country. I was backwards that, though, is on June 29th. So plan ahead.
Ms. Greene?
Just glad to be here.
Mr. Thomas?
I hope Mr. Weaver's well and here at the next meeting.
Thank you, I do too. For February, we have quite a few events coming up. Unfortunately, the biggest event and my favorite event that's going to be on the 15th with Lyle Lovett and John Hyatt is sold out at the auditorium. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, it's too late. Have to wait till the next time. But on the 6th...
here, though. Sold out.
Sold out.
Awesome.
So on the 16th, we will have the following day if you're feeling all sad and gloomy and everything, you can go up to the community center and they'll have the 14th Annual Chocolate Lovers Festival and buy some chocolate from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And also on that evening of the 16th, upstairs at the Grotto, they'll have the Creta Cork Hardy Gras Ball and benefit dinner at 5 p.m. And there are tickets available for that. And also on the 16th will be the Plein Air Casino Night Fundraiser from 6:30 to midnight at Staten Gallery, 137 Spring Street. On the 21st, we'll have the Artie Gras Palette to Palette from 5:30 to 8 o'clock at the Crescent Conservatory. And on the 22nd, we'll have the Coronation Ball at 6 p.m. at the Convention Center. And then on the 23rd will be the EUREKA Grand Night Parade, 6 p.m., starting around the library and going down Spring Street. And then on the 23rd, right after the parade, will be the Black Light Ball at Chelsea's. And then on the 24th will be the Beer Can Breweriana Collectors from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Inn of the Ozarks. And that's all I have. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.